Hey there gang, what's up as we welcome you back to another video on Streaming Stars. Over the course of 10 seasons, the storyline of the American comedy drama series Shameless has certainly experienced noticeable peaks and valleys. While getting used to following the misadventures of the Gallaghers and their Southside neighbors, the viewers have found themselves laughing, crying, and generally in a state of shock. Although it often feels like Frank Gallagher is one of the most loathsome individuals ever seen on TV, he does contribute to the plot quite nicely and gives true meaning to the show's title. Portrayed by Emmy Award-winning actor William H. Macy, Frank is a hopeless alcoholic, crime-committing drug addict, and the patriarch of the dysfunctional family on Shameless, who does less than the bare minimum for his children, forcing them to essentially raise themselves. With this troublemaker's character, the show has found a way numerous times to produce humor out of a situation where there's otherwise very little to laugh about. Here's our list of the funniest Frank Gallagher moments of all time. But as usual, before we start, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to be notified of more awesome content in the future. Number 5. When Frank is thrown outside by Lip and Ian. Notorious in the neighborhood for his detestable personality traits, Frank Gallagher is usually shown unconscious on the floors around the house or at the corner of an abandoned street when he's not at the bar spending the little money his family has. Not only is he a terrible parent, but is also careless, selfish, narcissistic, and most of all, a total disappointment for his children. Since Frank, on several occasions, proved that he is incapable of anything except collecting disability checks, getting intoxicated, and causing several problems for his family, Fiona and the other children refused to trust him with anything. Debbie, on the other hand, still had a bit of hope left for her father until Season 3, Episode 2. Titled The American Dream, the episode involves Frank staggering home once again and clashing with the rest of the Gallaghers due to his drunken antics. After trying to take care of Frank and showing him kindness and love, Debbie finally understands why the older Gallaghers loathe their father so much. When drunk Frank sits on and hence ruins Debbie's school project, the little girl is shocked and realizes that she has had enough of his terrible behavior. Although the scene was a bit upsetting, especially due to Debbie's reaction and how she starts to hit Frank with a homemade weapon, humor was quickly brought to the scenario when Lip and Ian carry Frank outside. While throwing him out, the two boys briefly talked about where they should put their deadbeat father and quickly realized that the answer was where he belongs, the trash can. The moment was hilarious because of the way Ian and Lip throw Frank and leave him there, which viewers enjoy because, to be honest, Frank deserves so much worse. Number 4. Using Liam for panhandling. Frank's relentless failure to perform as a responsible father, trustworthy friend, and decent human being brings humiliation to the rest of the Gallagher family. Despite countless warnings and requests from Fiona's side, Frank is so much occupied in alcoholism that he simply has no moral compass to begin with, due to which his children have to ultimately pay for his self-destructive sins. From committing serious crimes to bringing illegal drugs home, Frank Gallagher disturbs his already dysfunctional family in every way he possibly can. He doesn't hesitate while putting his children at risk of severe debt by cashing the pension checks of a dead relative for more alcohol, despite Fiona's attempts to save for her siblings' education. Limits are crossed when Frank takes the youngest Gallagher with him on the streets, as he's always trying to come up with various ways to make money wrongfully. He uses the toddler to win sympathy panhandling, an act that fills living rooms with laughter as viewers feel the humor revealed in the scene when Frank fails to garner any money despite begging alongside a toddler. Number 3. Another rant. In Season 1, Episode 2, named Frank the Plank, Fiona suspects that Frank is missing because he's nowhere to be seen on a Friday, which was Disability Check Day, something Frank would never miss in 100 years. Therefore, the Gallaghers begin their search for Frank, worrying that he might be in some serious trouble. The clan later finds out that Frank is in a holding cell in Toronto, Canada, and it turns out that it was Steve who made an attempt to make sure that the abusive and conniving so-called father would leave his children's lives for good. However, Fiona orders Steve to bring Frank back, after which Steve has no other choice but to reluctantly drive to Canada along with Veronica and Kevin to illegally bring Frank back into the United States. Even though Fiona was the one who decided to not leave him in Canada, she still knows her father's grim reality and refuses to let him stay at the Gallaghers' residence, or in other words, throw him out of the house yet again. The scene follows Frank desperately looking for a place to stay. But since he's known to be a manipulative agitator, no one in the entire neighborhood is willing to let him in, which comes to no surprise. Therefore, he continues to walk ahead, with Lip following him on a bike, throwing numerous taunts at him. Lip's taunts are calm in tone, but effective as he continues to remind Frank why he's not allowed into the house and gives him countless reasons why he deserves being treated this way. Frank is obviously triggered and angrily snaps back at Lip while giving senseless excuses for his behavior and acts. He blames Monica and Kevin without realizing when he begins talking to himself. In the next few seconds, Frank goes on a hysterical monologue about how hard his life is and how he deserved better. It's not only ironic, but also super funny thanks to William H. Macy's impeccable acting. Number 2, when Frank gets liver medication. Being addicted to all kinds of alcoholic beverages and succumbing to drug addiction obviously has some serious consequences, but Frank Gallagher wasn't ready to realize this even after his carelessness reaches dangerous levels. In the beginning of the 4th season, his health issues finally catch up to him until he's diagnosed with multiple underlying problems, especially liver cirrhosis that has reached a serious stage. As seen in the episode Simple Pleasures, Frank's liver fails, after which he has to make a life-altering decision to either find a donor or live out the last of his days. His condition continues to deteriorate while he tries to ease his pain with subscription drugs and even tracks down his oldest sister Samantha in the hope of her being a possible donor, but all his efforts prove to be futile in the end. The episode Liver, I Hardly Know Her depicts how Sheila pays $26,000 for a surgeon so that Frank could get a liver transplant. However, it turns out to be a scam, and Frank's kidney is surgically removed and stolen as well. Therefore, in a complete state of panic, Frank is rushed to the hospital, where he not only marries Sheila, but is also unconscious while his family plans on saying their last words to him. However, a twist is instilled into the plot when a team of doctors arrive and rushes Frank out of the room, delivering the news that a new liver was available for him. Later, when problems with his liver resurface, Frank is seen on a hospital bed once again, where the doctor briefs him regarding the required medication and their side effects. She discusses the treatment options, talks about the various pharmaceutical drugs, and attempts to ask Frank if he has any issues with the possible side effects he'll be facing. Without giving it a thought, he bluntly interrupts her and says, "I've never met a drug I didn't like." The dialogue is equally funny as it is awkward to hear for the doctors. Classic Frank. Number 1, Frank in the hospital. Despite the fact that Frank is actually intelligent, has finished high school, and even went to college for 1 semester, the people who know him often regard him as a rambling alcoholic who provides either amusement or aggravation, depending upon the day. He's also seen doing absolutely nothing in the way of financial support. Instead, he tries to steal money from the family and serves as a major headache in the Gallagher household. Even then, his older children still look for him and try to bring him back home when he goes completely missing numerous times. Despite the fact that Frank doesn't deserve being rescued from any trouble, the rest of the Gallagher clan still makes sure no car runs over him when he's lying unconscious on the road, and they try their best to pick him up and make sure he's safe. However, there have been times when they failed to find Frank or were so frustrated and resentful towards him that they stopped caring about him for a while. In the 8th episode of the first season, named "It's Time to Kill the Turtle," Frank wakes up in a hospital after being heavily intoxicated with alcohol. Usually, he would find himself in the middle of an unfamiliar street or on the street of his house, but this time was quite different. The medical professionals initially try everything to wake Frank up after he stays unconscious for 2 days. After smelling salts, caffeine injections to ice baths, the doctors had made several attempts to make sure he could wake up and respond normally. However, when one of the doctors is compelled to slap him hard on the face, the scene is quite funny for the viewers who enjoy Frank's instantaneous awakening and the way he's startled. The moment is also hilarious due to the fact that a majority of the audience following the show since the start of the season was waiting for a moment like this, where the lonesome Frank would finally receive a least bit of what he deserved, which in this case was a tight slap. The scenario continues to stay interesting due to the hospital staff's reaction to the way Frank was behaving. The doctor who slapped him then offers him $3,000 for a hospital study to abstain from alcohol for 2 weeks, and with the way she says, "In my whole career, I haven't seen such a spectacular display of alcoholism," comedy is once again instilled into the scene. William H. Macy's brilliant depiction of Frank's character greatly contributes to Shameless's novelty as a working-class sitcom that reveals equal amounts of truthful emotion and humor. This wraps up another awesome video which we hope you guys enjoyed. Do let us know how you feel by liking the video, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the bell icon to be notified of more awesome videos in the future. Until then, take care and goodbye.